Yep, that is where the players are sitting, so that matches up. Jarvan, Seraphine banned once again, Lulu still banned. So the kind of bread and butter bottom lanes have been consistently banned through the first 3 games. Need to update the series bans as well. Those are just the Fearless bans from game 1 that we currently see, so all the champions they played in the last game are not available as well.
All right, let's see what that changes as far as the priority is concerned. I have a feeling that like Ambessa kind of just hasn't been looked at throughout this series so far, and so that might be something worth looking at here. Is the Pantheon going to be taken away? And one more ban to come through here from LYON. See what that is going to be. Fiddlesticks. Kind of like that from, look at that beautiful drawing as well. Really evokes Fiddlesticks.
I'd say both those signs are great. The Let's Go JDG sign looks great as well.
Man, we are certainly taking our time for this final ban.
I'm a little worried that something is banned and isn't popping up yet. Okay, it's Jax. We got it.
Okay. So Jax is going to be banned away, Xiaoxu. Oh, okay. So with the Jax ban, isn't that's kind of telling us something? That perhaps there is an idea here.
Like a first pick Ambessa?
Like a first pick Ambessa.
Maybe. Because Rumble,
they are second pick, so...
Rumble Cassante gone already. JDG has the first pick.
Ooh, Vi going to be the choice here. How is Inspired's Nefiri?
Untested.
Oh, untested. That is such a beautiful way of describing it. Okay, so probably not going to be going for that particular attempted counter pick, because like you were saying, the Ambessa set up for here and will be locked away. Could, of course, be Inspired's pick because Ambessa has been played throughout the jungle, but Ryze is up! What the heck?
Nice!
It's an assumed ban in my brain. I just assume that it's always going to be banned away, and they get it second rotation?
I love this second rotation from LYON. Already a lot of side lane power, a lot of good ability to skirmish. It does leave open the Anivia counters that I'm sure HongQ would be able to play, whether he wants to go with something like Cassio or Anivia. Zaahen also could just be thrown in as a top jungle flex at the moment. Wouldn't be too shocked if they lock it in.
Are we going to go with like bot lane Vi?
No.
Okay, so it's probably going to go top lane.
Yeah.
And HongQ, is he going to be going for the Anivia counter pick or something like that? Or do they hold their cards close to their chest? Or do they just go for the mid jungle, tried and true Ahri Vi? Yeah. This is not inspiring in my personal opinion.
They have a really high chance of drafting a full square this game because they already have the top lane triangle, and I don't see a reason that they have to sack the bottom of the map.
I actually think that they need to put a lot of power in the bottom of the map because there is a Ryze Ambessa being represented on the other side. The Ambessa still retaining its flexibility as well, so you can't go all in into, you know, banning things away. All right, the Ezreal going to be locked in here for Berserker. So trying to keep things ambiguous is the aim of the game. There's more bans to come on through here. Is there like a Zaahen like counter pick that you can, like what would be the favored counter pick into Zaahen towards the top side of the map?
Well, I mean,
if you were going to flex the Ambessa, that's my question.
Honestly, that's a good question. I'm not entirely sure what Dhokla would have cooking. He could always play just a range top if he really wanted to.
That's what I was thinking. Is it time for like Vayne top?
I don't think it's time. I think the Ambessa is fine. And I'm just thinking through the junglers that are already locked in, knowing that Inspired is going up against Vi. So it's... We've lost all of our Fearless bans. So I need to, from memory, remember the 4 junglers that have been played. But it's Wukong, Malphite, Xin, and Pantheon are gone.
Yes.
From the jungle pool.
Well, Pantheon's been banned, so it wasn't played in one of those games. So there's another one. Xin's out, did you say that one? Because that one was played.
Nocturne, Malphite, Wukong.
Malphite, Wukong, yeah.
And Pantheon, Viego also banned. So they're going down Inspired's list. He played Viego in game 2 against JunJia in one of their better looking games against JunJia. So this could be the time that Inspired has a jungle pick cooking.
Yep. The Kai'Sa and the Sivir both banned away here. Just some options into the Ezreal that can do decently well.
Yeah, good chance that they're saving support counter pick for 5th pick as well once they see the bot lane of JDG. So I'd expect Inspired's jungle pick to come through on 4 here.
Yeah, I feel like the support pool is kind of wide open. Outside of the fact that Fearless has banned away quite a few of the decent ones. As there is the Seraphine being taken away as well, so trying to deny that combination on that bottom side of the map.
With all these jungle bans, this could be the time to move the Ambessa to jungle, because it's still a very serviceable jungler.
I also think that, like, just lock a support and then hold the flexibility. Although, looks like Dhokla is heading towards a different idea.
If they lock this in. It's
or
funny.
Top lane Ryze.
About a year ago, we talked to Dhokla about top lane Aurora, and he said it's a fake pick. Like, it can go up 10 CS, and then it just doesn't do anything. But a man can change his views.
What's his opinion on top lane Ryze?
I don't think it's something he'll play.
Oh, really?
But it would be a decent time for it, for sure.
Yeah, because if you don't like top lane Aurora,
into Ahri,
then you don't need to play it. If you could just play Ryze instead. Gala having an idea about what he wants to pick here as the Xayah will be locked in. Is it just Xayah Rakan time? Yeah, the Lovers duo are going to be locked in for JDG.
Okay, so let's see what Isles has cooked for his counter pick here. Seraphine already gone, Karma already gone.
Big
Could
Bad
be
Brad.
Bard time. Ezreal Bard is a nice combo.
Yeah, I really like this. I think you'd have push in that lane as well. Bit of an advantage there as far as the combat capabilities of the Bard, and really does add a massive amount of utility. We've seen this champion banned so often as, never mind, Isles is skipping around a few different decisions. I do think the Bard would have been a good one.
Leonis,
instead, wanting a little bit more engage in frontline.
Yeah, Leonis can be really good into the Rakan as well. Get that point and click Q when the Rakan tries to fly in to maybe help with the one shot. And this is likely what we're going to see from LYON with all the bans that were thrown down to Inspired. It made sense that he flexed the Ambessa to the jungle.
Yep.
And they just need to make sure him and Ezreal have good games, otherwise the MR stack from the top side of JDG could be very strong.
Yeah, I do think that the Aurora should be able to keep down the Zaahen in the earlier stages of the game, but I just feel like that champion, if you get to a certain point, you are just kind of inevitable.
Yeah, especially when there's double AP solo laners. If he's able to itemize pretty hard in AP, and if Inspired doesn't get fed, he will run over the game.
Yeah. A little bit frightened, but match point on the cards for both teams here as we have a tied-up series. It is a best of 3 from here on out, and I'm just so glad that we have a series that isn't a sweep. You said already that this could be like the most one-sided international tournament that we've ever had. Well, both JDG and LYON are doing their very best to fight back against that.
And listen, today is just different. G2 already won.
Yeah. I'd prefer not to think about that series. Made me a little bit sad.
Oh, because the BFX result?
They didn't do very well. If I can remember back to the bits that I haven't quite figured out how to forget yet. But let's dive in to game number 3 here between LYON and JDG. LYON being able to pick up that victory quite narrowly, I guess, towards the end there with that last auto attack needing to come down towards the Nexus. And are now looking to carry that momentum forward into this second game. And I want to kind of go back to what we were mentioning at the very beginning, and almost facetiously, the mental reset did happen.
It did.
And LYON managed to get back out onto the Rift and find themselves a victory here against JDG.
No, and now the mental momentum, as you would call it.
Oh, the momentum.
That's not what I would call it.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, I thought they were on the same page.
It's in the side of LYON for sure, because they were one team fight away from probably losing the series. Going down 2-0 after having 2 close games like that can be really demoralizing. But now that they've won that second game, they can very easily say, we should be up 2-0. We can play with more confidence that we are in fact the better team.
Yep.
And that's the type of things that you can truly believe going into this game 3 after the comeback fight they were able to have at the end of game 2.
Well, Dhokla doing exactly what you're supposed to on this Aurora, just straight up zoning Xiaoxu out of this lane. It's beautifully done. Meanwhile, here on this bottom side of the map, it's not necessarily a huge one, but live now is the Act 2 Battle Pass bundle. Purchasing unlocks the Prestige Requiem Sona skin and the Chroma. So if you want that, go in and grab it. As Saint fighting against HongQ here, a couple more autos would have done it, but didn't have quite the time to get underneath that turret and make that one happen. As JunJia is over here, Orbit Deception does go a little bit wide. Getting a bit of health back.
Saint has that one ward on the Raptors of JunJia, so he's going to see exactly where the Vi is. So he's probably just going to shove this next wave in and then probably back off a little bit, maybe take a base.
I do like that he's not playing overly aggressively, looking for that kill, but now that he gets this crash to come on forward, he just flashes on in, doesn't find the Q. There's the first blood.
What a play!
And will just wander his way out. JunJia not able to respond.
Well, he saw that JunJia had walked up after killing the Raptors and wasn't in danger of ganking, and then HongQ greeds on that wave. The wave was so big that Saint's able to flash follow and get the kill, but then because he went so deep, actually being able to drop the turret aggro and walk straight back to the turret, that was greatly played by Saint.
Just utilizing all the information that he had available to him, and like you say, this is a monster wave. As the flash comes in, Q misses, doesn't actually matter. He manages to pick that one up and then immediately walks back on down. So returning the favor from game number 1. Last time around it, we looked a little bit more dicey.
Listen,
for the Lion mid laner.
It's the mental advantage. Game 2, the Victor play was a head scratcher.
The momentum, Jatt. It's exactly right. They're utilizing it very, very well. I'm not going to do that again. That's the last time. It's the last time.
We've done enough.
Yeah, we've certainly tried to coin too many things that aren't real.
Yeah, triangles and square drafts as well as tempo markers.
Yeah.
I think we've hit our quota for things we're allowed to make up in a very close LCS versus LPL series when LCS hasn't beaten LPL in a best of 5, and we saw a Kangas tweet over 2,400 days. The last time it happened would have been, we believe, TL versus IG.
2019?
MSI 2019.
I feel like that's what it is. As we do have a bit of an engage here from Vampire. Goes on in. As Berserker still looking for some angles, but it's going to be JDG standing their ground for now. Inspired behind enemy lines right here, as we can see.
Yeah.
And there is the dash out from Berserker. As Isles looking to get in onto Gala here. Does have the Eclipse running, but still taking a lot of damage, as we can see. And the flash was actually needing to be utilized there as Inspired goes forward, looking for a Grump this time around. Yeah. He lost his obsession with the Raptors. Instead, going to go for this little Grump fight.
Burns his smite early, doesn't get the Grump, so ends up using his tempo token right there before he goes back to his Raptors.
You just coined another one, Jay. You told me we're not allowed to do that.
I cheated. I'm sorry. Just felt right in the moment.
Tempo. Burns the tempo token. I actually kind of love that, though. I feel like that works better.
It probably does in a tempo marker.
Yeah. Burns the tempo token. I feel like they're in an arcade.
Yeah.
Oh, beautiful. All right. Well, Saint has hit that level 6. Does have Realm Warp now available. Can affect the rest of these lanes. As Xiaoxu continuing to really have a rough time up against Dhokla.
Which is how the early laning phase you would expect it to go. He's gone Grasp, Second Wind, as well as Doran Shield and Biscuits. He's doing everything he possibly can to survive the early laning phase. Definitely gets way more powerful once he gets a couple of items. Very early game, not the strength of Zaahen top lane, so Dhokla trying to get as much advantage in this stage of the game as he can.
Yep. And as we can see, it's almost 1,000 gold to lead. Just that first blood for Lion, but still being able to do a decent job in almost all of the lanes. Especially the solos, as Isles is going to be able to get that Zenith Blade on top of Vampire. It does punish him on that engage. Still, it is a fair bit of work being done here by the Xayah Rakan.
Yeah, almost a classic bot lane we see here. This is the type of stuff we'd see before everyone was locked into lane until role quest completion, back when people would swap and could just run away with CC. So even though we haven't seen much of it this year, both these teams are going to be very comfortable playing these matchups.
Oh, Xiaoxu going for a little bit of an all-in here as Dhokla possibly in trouble.
Might have to ult.
Yeah, Widden comes out. Nope. And doesn't actually need to. Misses a couple of buttons, but is otherwise all right. 10 CS advantage still held on to. And JunJia takes the crab.
Level 6 on Ahri Vi, though. Saint has to have a lot of respect if he doesn't have an Ambessa in his back pocket. But actually...
Oh, dear. This could be scary. And Dhokla's fresh off a teleport as well. The flash forward from Xiaoxu doesn't really find too much. And it looks like JunJia is just going to be going back.
Doesn't want to let the wave in.
Worlds. I don't know about that one.
No, this is really well played by Dhokla. If the
clears out the wave.
Yeah, if the wave gets in, he probably dies to the gank from Vi, but they're not willing to just go in and take turret shots from the very start of the gank, so nice job by Dhokla to burn his ult there. Kind of felt the gank, didn't have full vision on the Vi, but he's like, there's no way Xiaoxu's playing this way. Yeah. Can't let this wave crash. Vi's probably in my jungle.
And there is so much vision. Have a look at this. All the way up that river towards the top side. JDG knows what's going on, but they don't know what's going on that bottom side. So it's a trade of blue buffs.
He could still gank him here through the wall. Decides against it. Okay, Dhokla's burned a lot of time.
Yeah.
From JunJia.
And they don't necessarily know it, because of course they didn't know that he was up there, but still.
Yeah, they're 90% sure, because Inspired also invaded blue buff and Grom, stole both of them away during that time. So they were playing the entire map as if they had full vision of the Vi.
Well, HongQ now just going to be able to clear out this vision, these minions in the mid lane. And he's, catching back up as far as CS numbers are concerned, but still that 500 gold lead is there for Saint on this Ryze. And Ryze is obviously the big ticket pick in this game. Already has his Catalyst done and is going to be a huge problem in this game.
Yep, nice job by Berserker there, clearing the wave and interrupting a reset with his level 6 on Ezreal.
Would that get him a tempo token?
Yeah.
cool.
If it was a thing. it would have given the tempo.
Just wanted to check, just to make sure.
Yeah.
So I am up with all the lingo so far. There's a bit of a teleport in from Vampire as well. He's back out onto the map with his unsealed spellbook. And Saint going to be able to clear out a control ward and doing their very best to clear up this top side that had been littered with vision from JDG. So Void Grubs up and available. Let's see whether Inspired just dives on over towards those right now, as there is a fair bit of control here for LYON elsewhere on the map.
For sure. These early games from LYON have been consistently good.
Yeah.
This gives a lot of hope for the rest of the series, as Berserker still doesn't have Flash, but does have E, able to not have to burn it right now. Watch out, Dhokla.
Yep, there is a Vault Breaker Flash, and then the cease and desist comes in. He's just dead. You got to watch out for saying things, Jatt, I think.
Yep.
Stop saying things.
You got it from here on out, Atlus.
Okay, never mind. You can say things, just not things like that, okay? People might say that it's a caster curse. And so we don't want to risk that. But it doesn't really matter. He's still doing his job, right? And if Vi gets a gank off with her ultimate and flash, obviously that is difficult to avoid.
Yeah, it relieves a bit of pressure on the other lanes. At the very least, Saint can play more aggressively in this lane. Inspired can continue to try and power farm up until his Eclipse, where he will get very strong. Do have to watch out here. They have a numbers advantage. Yeah, just ult for cleanse. That's a decent trade.
Not too much of anything else happening from that one, though. And it's about a 300 gold lead. Saint was cheating towards the bottom side of the map, but no Realm Warp angle available. And HongQ still fishing for these charms. Not quite finding the buttons here.
Yeah. I mean, one thing I've learned from watching Saint the last couple years is he's just an incredibly arrogant player in the way that he positions. Because when it works, but it also leaves him open to being punished fairly often. And in this game, with the turret dive working out, and then also that another big trade onto HongQ, it is working out so far.
Yeah, certainly is. And I think it does make sense for a guy that played on the same team as Showmaker for quite some time. As he goes in, there's a grand entrance there as well. Quickness comes on down, and Saint doing his very best to try and escape this one. I think he's going to be able to. That is, I feel like that's illegal that he got out there.
It's super illegal, but that's the way he plays. I mean, he burns his coast, he gets a plate, but technically he burned a lot of time. JunJia went mid lane, Vampire used ultimate, and Saint was going to reset after that play anyway, so ends up being a good play. I don't know if many coaches would agree that that is the play to go for, but when it works, it works.
Either he has incredible risk assessment, or he's just crazy.
Some say he has better mechanics than JoJo. His jungler has said that in an interview, Inspired.
Wow, that's crazy.
He rarely says anything from anyone is better than JoJo, if you know Inspired.
Well, that's Isles just trading his ultimate for everything that Gala has.
Good as well.
One after the other, as the Featherstorm does come on down. A couple of Void Grubs do go back over to Inspired as well. I think he went back and finished off the remaining two, so 3 of those going in their direction at the same time. And so JDG without very much of an objective to their name at this point in the game.
Yeah. LYON's going to have to start thinking about Drake soon if they're going to be holding this much pressure across the 3 waves. Although Saint is probably fairly happy stacking this tier, working up towards Rod of Ages against the Ahri Vi early game. But finally, Inspired and Ryze link up, and they might make a play bot here.
Yeah, Isles going in. Finds the Zenith Blade angle. Eclipse just makes him pretty much immortal as he goes in. And that means that they clear out the wave very comfortably, take the tempo marker into the river, and look to see whether they can use that to grab themselves a Drake. As in the meantime, Saint just going to be running real fast, and they're going to turn this into an engage onto Vampire as well. He's going to be forced to go for a reset. I just feel like LYON have a lot of control here, although Inspired does get charmed up, stashes around. We'll be able to survive.
Isles has first move, might go for re-engage.
Yeah, there's the public execution as Isles gets on in there. Cease and desist to try and mitigate some of that CC. But JunJia should still be going down despite being able to do a fair bit of damage. The flash in from Inspired, that'll do it. Solar Flare for the last hit, not sure about that one. But still, I mean, it gets the job done.
Yeah, it gets them the kill onto JunJia. Think he was going to die anyway. Now
Saint is definitely going to flash. Never mind, he's fine.
Wow.
I wasn't going to say definitely going to die. No.
The Mercury Tread's tenacity gives him just enough time to flash away.
He's not allowed to back there. So many illegal things being done from this man.
He's playing with confidence.
Oh, yeah.
And it's working. So keep it up, Saint.
Maybe Showmaker did, like, personally teach him how to play the game.
The big thing about this play ends up being the roam from Isles at the end of it, staying out of Fog of War because of the work Isles and Berserker have been doing bot lane. So as Inspired lands the R, they're able to try and chain this CC. And basically JunJia getting over the wall here. I'm pretty sure Inspired was going to just finish him.
And Inspired's Ambessa, so he's
going to catch
How did my Q
dashes.
not hit? He just queued out?
Yeah.
Well,
still a kill. Got the assist gold. We'll take it.
We'll take it indeed. And 2-1 in favor of LYON. They have over 1,000 gold in the lead. And Gala, he does have his ultimate back available. He's going to throw it out right now, but Berserker just creates as much space as he would like with his Arcane Shift. And LYON is so good at just playing around these cooldowns. Like, that gets thrown out. They don't go inside the feathers. They just back away. They'll look for another fight when he has absolutely nothing to mitigate it.
Berserker Isles have had really strong laning phases in all 3 of these games against Gala and Vampire, who have been one of the strong points of JDG to get here to first stand. So this isn't even a game where they necessarily over-prioritize lane, but the LYON Ezreal at this point is winning against the Xayah Rakan.
Last time we saw JDG, I actually felt like it was the bottom lane that was performing exceptionally well, especially Gala.
Yeah.
This time around, it is LYON with a whole lot of control. And it hasn't been JDG picking for priority down there either.
I think that's one of the bigger things is the draft as well, keeping Seraphine permabanned. The Karma in game 1 would have been the moment, but the Poke Varus was keeping it down, even though LYON did end up losing this game. Now they have to watch out for JunJia, though. Yeah,
JunJia looking for a bit of an angle here. Does have the Vi. You can pretty much guarantee that this gank should be successful if they do stay up, but that is not what they're going to do. Instead, JunJia just going to head over towards this Drake. Look to try and take that one down. That'd be first Dragon of the game at almost 15 minutes. It's one of the latest first Drakes that we've had so far this tournament, as Vampire just has to quickness grand exit. That's a lot invested to try and stop a back, but at least he does.
It stopped the back. And now JunJia overstaying on the map a little bit after Drake. Saint sniffs it out. Still very close competitive game here. This first Drake Chemtech soul means we're incredibly far away from a
Dhokla going between the worlds here as the Realm Warp to deliver Ryze towards his top lane. Grim Deliverance, but the Ghost gets Saint out of the way, and Xiaoxu is just going to be held at arm's length and taken down. It's Saint that grabs that kill, his second of the game, and LYON just really not allowing for any openings. It should be Dhokla grabbing this top outer turret as well.
Yeah, he's been chipping away at this turret, having a lot of push onto the Zaahen, and Saint is having just a great game.
He really is. What a bounce back from game number 2 as well. It was a difficult time for him, but this time picks up that first blood by himself underneath the enemy outer turret, and then able to help out Dhokla in top lane as well.
Live by Saint, die by Saint as well. Hopefully just live. Hopefully just live for the rest of this game.
I mean, he's playing Ryze. I mean, this champion's busted.
And also, look at this. Zaahen can teleport down bottom, but he just collects another full wave bottom, likely collects some crystalline overgrowth on that turret as well. Full Rod of Ages, almost finished stacking his tier. Berserker definitely has to watch out here, though.
Yep, Arcane Shift should be able to get him over there, but JunJia is just going to throw down the ulti. There's the knockup. Charm is connected. Oh, that layering of CC was perfect out of JDG. And that is what happens when you have barrier instead of cleanse.
Saint has to watch out now as well. Dhokla could teleport in, but wouldn't want to because he's got a full wave to collect up there. But a 3-man dive onto Saint, who is flashless and ghostless.
Yep. And I mean, Cleanse would have allowed him to cleanse Flash after the cease and desist, but I think he still would have been dead. So
that's a strong round.
Not too much of a big deal here as Saint just trying to get them out of underneath this turret.
Yeah. Not only did the Leona come to defend, but they also got the Aurora TP, so that's probably play worth.
Whoa, okay. Isles goes for the Flash Zenith Blade to try and get onto them, but it's just a flash out from JunJia. You will take that. Support Flash for the Jungle Flash, probably feeling pretty good. Yeah. Doesn't have Hex Flash, which is a little bit of a shame, but...
And Inspired has 2 levels on JunJia, by the way.
That is a... What? Why?
Yeah. The 40
so
CS.
much farm. Okay, well, Saint is now potentially in trouble. Grim Deliverance is going to come on in. He's trying to run this one out. As the Grand Entrance going to hold him in position, and there's a shutdown going over to the Zaahen. And I think, as far as where to put shutdown money, that is not where LYON wanted to put shutdown money.
That's exactly where JDG wanted to put the shutdown money.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so Stridebreaker Mercury Treads on the Zaahen now, 2 kills. He will end up being a problem in this game. Still a very close game, as Inspired is able to pick up the Rift Herald and likely use this to break mid, but Xiaoxu getting even more gold now. The original play was defended, but then they went for the repeat play, and it caught Saint off guard.
And having a look there at the Coinbase gold grind, the fact that Gala is ahead in gold as well is not something that I was expecting to see in this lane, with the fact that they just had a lot of control in the early stages. Gala has bounced back quite well. As we move towards the end of this mid-game, things are pretty much tied up, except for the fact that there is that one Drake on JDG. Next one going to be an Infernal. Pretty good single Drake, to be perfectly honest. And I imagine LYON wanting to even out that count, stop that double dragon from happening here. Just feels like we're so much earlier in the game. And we're talking about second Drake, but
sure.
It's almost 20 minutes.
Yeah, Inspired was definitely prioritizing his level advantage over Vi in this one. Potentially even just trying to delay when Soul is needing to be fought over because Ryze is so good in split pushing scenarios. I can understand the strategy of just, if we don't hit Drake, they don't hit Drake. And then that means a potential Soul point force is going to delay long enough for Ryze to become Thanos, right? So I don't think it's, I think it's a good thing for LYON that the first Drake was so late, even if the last shutdown was a bad thing for LYON.
Decent little charm there. And of course, the upgraded Merc Tread's going to feel pretty nice here for Saint, keeping himself relatively safe and just clearing out this wave. But it is a lot of push that JDG has, a lot of control here towards this bottom side of the map with 40 seconds left on this Dragon. They're doing everything that they can to make sure that they have as much control prepared. But now you've got LYON moving in, Vision being cleared out, and Inspired with that level advantage should be able to try and out-muscle them as far as getting some control around this Dragon Pit. Yeah,
Dhokla's sitting on Proto Belt, which would make him strong, but he needs to clear out this top wave, and he doesn't have his teleport yet, but Xiaoxu does. So I would expect this to be a slow-played situation by LYON. Like, if LYON has the control, I don't think they should start the Drake right away unless Dhokla wants to give more turret gold over to Zaahen, which I don't think would be wise. Yet, he's roaming down for this Drake control.
Seeing whether he can get there, but I imagine that Xiaoxu will just stick around, as now Vampire, having the grand exit, will be able to do so.
Burned his Ghost from Spellbook as well.
Yeah. And okay, Dhokla does pick up that wave. That should mean that JDG are allowed to enter this river, understanding that there isn't a teleport available here on the Aurora.
Yeah, they have implied numbers advantage at the moment.
Hello, Baron. Just going to swim away. It's nice to see you.
Swimming through.
Yep. Just showing us that we are very late for our second Drake of the game. Baron showing up at the same time. There it is.
Teleport up for Dhokla now, though, so they've delayed it long enough that they could contest if they want, but they've given up control, so it's hard for them to enter, especially against Ahri, Vi, Rakan, who could one-shot them if they walk too close.
Well, Berserker is just going to clear out the minions. Bottom lane is just kind of being forgotten at this point, as the charm just barely goes wide.
How's Mike going on that?
And HongQ just getting burst down by Berserker, throws out the True Shot Barrage, but doesn't exactly find too much joy. As the Rift Herald coming down as well. I do really like the Battle Rift Herald as Inspired. Wondering where he wants to use it.
Me too.
Thinking about going for a bit of an engage towards Gala, but just takes down that turret. There's the charm onto Inspired. The quickness doing a fair bit of work there, but where's the follow-up? The damage is not quite there as now Dhokla turns up. Doesn't quite get the angle. Cease and desist does come in, but the knockups are returned. And into the backline goes Xiaoxu. This guy is so big. The Grim Deliverance though finds nothing. Still Saint is going to die, and LYON will still be losing this team fight, and possibly the Dragon as well, unless Berserker can make some heroism happen.
LYON really not on the same page at the start of this fight. Berserker was in base when Inspired went in for that Rift Herald crash. So he gets the 2 plates. They do get the jungler, which is keeping the Drake alive, maybe for one more cycle, but the overall team fight does go over to the side of JDG.
Only a 600 gold advantage, and they didn't manage to take the Drake. So that is the good news here for LYON. We can just do this again and run it back. But let's have a look at how this all started.
Aurora's TPing on mid-wave. Berserker's running out of base, and everyone on LYON just has to run. A lot of damage actually turned back onto JunJia, but then there's still the numbers advantage. So Xiaoxu can just run forward with impunity. HongQ ends up picking up the kill onto Saint, and we are back for another tango with the Dragon Pit.
Yep, round 2, and let's see whether it's going to work out in favor of LYON or whether JDG can finish it off this time around. 2-item spike is big here for Berserker though, as let's see whether he can land the damage that he wants to. As, oh dear, a little bit caught out of position here is JunJia, and he has to just get out of there. I think this could just mean that LYON will be able to take this Dragon, because without any health on your jungler, makes things real hard to smite. And so LYON will be able to take this one down, and they'll grab themselves a crab to boot. There that is. Charm goes wide, and LYON this time, without a contest, going to be able to take that Drake.
Good amount of damage they're able to get down onto JunJia. He's having a tough game with how much Inspired has been countering his jungle. So 210 CS to 158 is going to feel a little bit underpowered compared to what Inspired is in these team fights, kind of holding that 2-level advantage as well. But still a very competitive game overall. The name we haven't said much that we might be saying a lot later in this game is Gala. Because the Xayah scaling is real, and Gala's carried many a game on Xayah in his career.
And also almost moving towards 3 items as well when he does have that Lord Doms. Unless he decides to go for Mortal Reminder or something like that, but there's not a lot of healing. So it should just be Lord Doms here for Gala. And then Infinity, like 4 item Xayah is so incredibly frightening and will have a whole lot more consistent damage than what Berserker will be representing. Right now is when Berserker is the most powerful. And so I do like that LYON were trying to force around that, but they're going to have to continue trying to make things happen because there is a certain inevitability of Gala on this Xayah, as you were talking about. Even if the range is relatively low, as Isles in the back of the Baron pit that is able to mitigate most of Baron's damage as he does vacate the area. Vision available for JDG.
Yeah. Really tense game.
It is.
Really tense series so far. Game 1 had the tension the whole time, even though it was up 7 kills to 0. With it being 1 fight away, LYON ends up losing that one. Felt like it was going to turn into a sweep in game 2 because LYON made a couple mistakes after their early game lead, but they clutched it up, won that big team fight.
There was a rumble with a 5,000 gold lead. That should not be
and
a thing that loses the game. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, you know.
There was a very large Berserker in that game. The Berserker in this game is also looking pretty powerful, although he is behind a bit of gold at this point, but right now the items are certainly looking good.
Yeah, thinking about the way these team fights are going to progress, so much of it is about who can make the right engage. The team that goes in first might actually win this one.
Dhokla is going to be able to bounce back to the other side of the ultimate here as Solo Player is just going to slow down Vampire, but he doesn't seem too worried about it. Isles still looking for an opportunity. There is no turret up here as Inspired and Saint are both delivered, but the teleport does come on in. Grand Entrance only gets the knock up onto Saint as HongQ takes a lot of damage. In they go as Berserker is kind of free hitting. They do take down JunJia, but it is Inspired that falls as well. Isles going to be taken down, and Gala is just hitting whatever the heck he likes in the back line. And is going to be able to live through it, doing so much damage. And JDG, are they just looking for a Baron? That'd be a little bit frightening as HongQ is going to be able to take the Crystalline Overgrowth and takes down the turret.
That could be the game that swings it in JDG's, the fight that swings the game in JDG's favor as they get 3-4-1. You could see LYON was really hard forcing that. I'm surprised. I'm very surprised they didn't go for the Baron, mainly because they don't have Smite and they're thinking like Aurora, Ezreal could steal it, but it was going to be 4 versus 2. I think LYON might have dodged a bullet at the end here, but you can see the teleport comes in on the Realm Warp, and then LYON realizes they kind of just have to run. Gala gets out so much damage onto Inspired as they're trying to retreat, and LYON can just never get a good line set up as JDG just kind of run through the 3 of them. Great TP counter to Saints engage with the Realm Warp.
Not to mention Vampire just having an absolute field day in that fight. So much value out of the quickness and his Grand Entrance towards the end there, making sure that they pick off Isles. Really beautifully done. That's going to surge JDG into a 3,000 gold advantage. LYON not out of it just yet, but it is looking more and more difficult as this game goes on. And Xiaoxu possibly caught out of position, does have that Grim Deliverance. Saint goes golden to avoid that damage as now Berserker has finally turned up. But Xiaoxu is so difficult to kill. Inspired goes in, but him and Saint are just dead. And the rest of LYON couldn't really do anything about it. HongQ will be able to find a charm as well, as that is not the teleport that Dhokla was looking for. He tries to go between the worlds, but the world he finds is in the Death Chamber.
Xiaoxu is out of control in this game, absolutely dominating Saint at the start of that fight, and then everyone else on LYON just trickles in to die. It wasn't Baron before, it's definitely Baron now.
It certainly is, and this is something that we set up earlier on in the game as well, but let's have a look at how it all happened.
Really just taking the ego fight with Saint in the river and realizing he's stronger, and despite Inspired trying to fly in, the map was more in the favor of JDG. They can get numbers to the fight first, and then HongQ also scouting this TP, landing the perfect charm onto Dhokla, who was late on the TP to get the 3rd kill of the fight.
Yeah, it was beautifully done, and you can see Tabe not celebrating too much just yet.
I mean,
does
we
not
cannot
want to
while
allow
LYON is
the high
bot.
10 to
We are
happen.
running away from bot.
And Inspired not looking too happy about how things are going now. Let's see whether they can turn it around. 6,000 gold is the advantage here for JDG, but not a lot of Drakes have been taken so far in this game. True. It's another Cloud Soul. I did want to talk about it earlier on, but felt like, you know, I do talk about it probably too much. And Xiaoxu down here towards his bottom side. He is so frightening on this Zaahen. And Dhokla, I don't think, is going to be able to clear out these Baron up minions in time. Rebel Baron power play looking a whole lot better here. 1,600 at this point in time with still 2 minutes left to go. And JDG just looking to balloon this advantage, move themselves towards match point, unless LYON can do something heroic.
Yeah, at the same time, though, you could see Tabe not counting his eggs before they hatch into chickens.
Yeah.
This time.
Not counting his chickens before they hatch, I think is the line.
Yeah.
But if you do count chickens before they've hatched, they are indeed eggs, Jatt. You're absolutely right.
Yep, absolutely. Just because of what happened in last game. Look at that.
It just sounds a bit weird when you say it a little bit wrong. It's okay, Isles. That's not the Eclipse, but the inner turret is just going to fall. And man, JDG just moving like a steamroller towards LYON, and it looks like LYON just cannot get themselves into the positions that they want to. Isles moves up. I don't know whether that Zenith Blade hitting would have been a good thing, but now JDG go for the re-engage. Again, Vampire just takes control. The charm connects as well, but they go in between the worlds. There is the public execution. Dhokla grabs 1 kill, but unfortunately, that is probably all they're going to get, as it's a double for Gala. And Berserker is standing on a control ward, wanting to try and take someone down. Dhokla gonna get delivered grimly, and Xiaoxu should be able to flash on forward to help grab this for Gala. There is the ace, and maybe JDG have had enough of this game.
When JDG starts winning a team fight, they win the team fight.
They really do continue to win the team fight.
On the edges of these fights. What a beautiful finish to this game by JDG.
I have to say, the player of the game is a little bit easier this time around as well. Vampire has been just so incredibly good. As you can see, Isles doing his very best to distract these minions and JDG, but the Nexus turrets are just going to fall down. Half a turret remaining, and they will be able to push this minion wave forward. So JDG will be able to collect match point here, but LYON made them work for it. They had an advantage throughout a lot of this game, and I think that we haven't seen the last of them, as of course, we've still got one more game to go. The possibility of Silver Scrapes though, Jatt.
Absolutely. LYON has been winning the early games. JDG has been winning the mid-late games. That's why they're ahead in the series.
Well, we'll just have to see whether they are going to be able to close this one out 3-1, or whether it is going to be able to LYON able to bring it back, as we are going to throw it back to the lounge, and I'll figure out how to speak English.
We're not giving up on hope just yet, guys.